Sheik has always, been very vocal about Brian Blair, and he actually talked about that match, and he wasn't happy with Brian. What are your thoughts on the Iron Sheik and his comments on Brian? You think he's just working the gimmick, or you think there was really legit heat there between the two?
Geez, I don't know because and Cosgrove I've known since day one, and he's really been he's changed. I mean, he's a different man mentally, and
From all the drugs and stuff?
yes, I mean you can't continue to do that and not think. You can't think reasonably. And I remember the last time I think I was at one of these. We were in New Jersey, and they did some sort of a deal for. They had a roast for the Sheik, and the Sheik. I left because what's his name said something was really off color. Mentioned something
Scott
about
Hall, about Owens.
Yeah, that was horrible. I left right after that, and then I heard that Cosgrove came over and slapped Brian in the ear, and I thought, oh geez, and I know they were going to try to work a little gimmick, and I thought, geez, but I don't know, and I heard some of the rantings of Cosgrove. On what's the guy, the big radio guy, disc jockey?
Howard Stern?
Yes,
yeah.
That, and then he had a YouTube clip, and I thought, Jesus, Cosgrove, you're going to get yourself thrown in the mental hospital. And I can't remember. He's got a guy who books him around from...
Eric Sims.
Yes, is he still doing it?
He'll be here this weekend.
Oh, geez, is Cosgrove going to be here?
The Sheik's off this weekend.
Is he?
Yeah, so...
How's he doing?
He's doing pretty good. Yeah, he's doing good.
Well, I could tell you something off. I'll tell you off camera.
Okay. Memories of Bruiser Brody.
Jeez, he was a good guy. Frank was a good guy, and I really didn't realize that until after I worked with him. But he and I did a little. I had got kicked in the testicles, and I had a little blood clot in there, so I had to have it out. Brody comes to the AWA. So Vern says, we're going to have you work with him on TV and have him jump off the top rope and land on your stomach, and then you'll have the surgery and you'll be out. So that's what we did. So they put a little heat on him. And then in the interim, Brody was working for Vern in Denver, and something happened with the fan, and Brody slapped the fan or something. And then Vern didn't back him. So the big buildup, I'm coming back against Brody, who I liked, but Frank was so, you never know if you're going to get a Dr. Jekyll in the ring, because, so I go in the ring, and I'm ready to pumped up, and he wouldn't tie up with me. And I said, Jesus Christ, Frank. And then all of a sudden he left the ring. And this is the people were going crazy, and I ran halfway up the ramp, and he went in the locker room, and I ran right in the locker room. I said, what the hell's the matter? He said to me, just fly like this, just like we're talking right now. He says, Jim, don't worry about it. It has nothing to do with you. And I said, Frank, this is a big match. We have to go out there. He said, no. And I said, Frank, please. And he finally came out and gave me a little comeback and then took off. Well, 2 weeks later, I'm wrestling him in my hometown, St. Paul, at the Civic Center, and we're semi-main event. And I thought, oh my God, he's going to kill my career in my hometown. Because he's the type of guy, if he wanted to, he wouldn't sell you. If, all of a sudden he could just, So I thought, and all of a sudden it's 8 o'clock, no Brody. 8:30, no Brody. And I said, oh, Jesus. 9:15, he comes in the door, and we're going to go on in about 15 minutes. We didn't even get a chance to talk. And he gave me a hell of a match. I mean, he came at me, and he says, move, and boom, 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 and then I bam, 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 and then he took off. And it saved the day, but I was scared to death that he was going to, pull one of his stunts.
Right.
I had another match with him in Indianapolis where we're both going to the ring, and he jumps me on the aisle in the middle of the damn building, and he's got me with 2 chairs pinned on my neck, and I was kicking like a son of a gun. We never got in the ring.
Wow.
Never got in the ring, and the referee's out there counting them out, Oh, but I want to finish one story. I'm going to New York, and I'm working, and then we're in Kansas City, and we're both in the little place to eat breakfast, and he was going to Puerto Rico. And the next day he got killed.
Wow, July.
Yeah. And I felt so bad because I just talked to him. And he told me, he says, I hate working in Puerto Rico, but, it's a living. And then, the next day I found out about it, and I was just,
What are your thoughts on that?
oh, it was horrible. He got killed, and the guys got away with it.
Right.
And there was some guys from our country, U.S. boys that saw it and never did a damn thing. Never. They were afraid to. I guess I don't know what I'd do, but at the same time, when you see one of your guys actually get killed, that's pretty hard to walk away from.
I know Tony was in the locker room, Dutch and Savio and a couple other guys. So Samoans were down there.
That's horrible.
I was going to ask you more about Bruiser. I was going to ask you more about Bruiser Brody. Have any other Bruiser Brody stories, or is that? I mean, did he have a lot of heat with Vern after all the stuff that he pulled?
Yeah, I think he did.
All right.
I think he did. And Frank's whole idea was to screw the promoter before they screwed him, and that's what he told me too. Man, he was a likable guy and a talented big guy, and gosh, and I knew it wasn't going to last long with Vern because Vern wouldn't tolerate anybody that didn't, get under his thumb.
You worked Georgia Championship Wrestling too, right?
Yes.
Was Ole there as booker at the time, or was it?
Ole was there, and there was somebody else. There was the brothers. There was
Briscoes?
No. There was one was real tall, and one was, doggone it, what the heck is this? I can't think of his name now. But when I got fired in Charlotte in '79, I had about a 6 to 8 week deal before I was going to go to Japan with Nick.
Right.
So I went over to work for Barnett, and I worked in Georgia, and I stayed at the Hunter's Glen, or not Hunter's Glen, but whatever that little place was where all the boys were staying, and Sullivan was there, and Ted DiBiase was there, and it was a real depressing area because here I just, I had a nice little home in Charlotte, sold it, my kids and my wife were up in Minneapolis, and I'm down here in this doggone motel, efficiency, and everybody's taking acid, and you never know what was going to go on, and I thought, oh God, how am I going to last here?
What are some crazy stories from Georgia with the drugs and all?
Oh gosh, it was just, I'll never forget, this happened, and I don't know what time period it was, but there was this place, and it was open all hours, and it had a real classy name. It was sort of a real cowboy place.
Right.
And Wahoo and Dickie Slater were there. And Wahoo gets in a fight with the guy, and this guy pulls out a gun, so they're out in the doggone parking lot, and Wahoo's fighting this guy over the gun, and the gun goes off, ricochets, and hits Dick Slater in the calf. So Dick Slater and Wahoo takes the gun from the guy, hits him in the face, just knocks him out, bing, 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 and then throws the gun away. And meanwhile, Slater he has cowboy boot filled up with blood in a matter of 2 seconds. So they tourniquet him off, bring him to the hospital, and the police said, what the hell happened? And Wahoo said there was a sniper in the parking lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you were working in the AWA when Vince Jr. took over and started expanding. Did you think you would put all the territories out of business?
I did. And the reason why is I thought that that the capability that Vince had with Dick Ebersol and the group of people that he had in New York to make things happen really told the wrestler, the talent throughout the country that, no matter what you've been involved with before, this is where it's heading, and you better get there quick, otherwise there might not be a place. So as guys were leaving, and you could see it throughout the whole area, all over, that he was going to take over the whole thing.
You think Vern should have sold early on?
Yep.
He had the opportunity to,
yep.
I think, right? I think Mean Gene told us the story. He was offered like
$7 million or
yeah.
something? Yeah. And $7 million, and Greg would have a job for life, and
right.
Vern said, F you.
Yep, and he hung up on him or something.
Yeah.
I think Mean Gene was there when it
Oh, God, what a stupid thing. Jeez. And just the change of fortunes, Vern lost everything, and...
Was Vern out of touch by the time this all went down? Do you think he was kind of out of touch with the
Well,
boss?
I think his ego, he had been on the high and mighty for so long and had been such a huge impact on wrestling in the Midwest that I don't think that he really thought that this could happen to him.
Right.
And, you know, everybody sooner or later, you know, falls, and he did, and it was sad because you hated to see him keep throwing money, trying to keep things going, and whatever he did was always a couple notches lower than, you know, New York.